Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to start welcoming you to Gov School this afternoon, and you'll just give us just a couple more minutes, and we'll have everything ready to go for you. And we like to give everybody just a little bit of time to get into the room. Your mute is on on purpose. When you first come into the room, you do have the ability to unmute yourself and to ask questions, but it does help with the background if you maintain the mute status when you don't have a question. And we'll get started here just a couple minutes after. I like to allow people to come any time to get into the rooms here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gov School. My name is Mark Knowles. I'm one of the founders of Gov Directions, and we're here today with Dr. Cynthia Harper. And Cynthia is one of my favorite speakers. I always mention that when we publish her information. And we got a little bit of a late marketing effort on this, and so we will promise to do a better job of that as we get into the future, as we're going into. But we always watch on our Gov School channel for the classes that we have. And this one today is especially important. It's teaming. Teaming, of course, is the primary way most of us get started in the government contracting space. And I've invited Cynthia here today to talk to you about. She is a teaming expert. She works with clients. She has been doing that for a while. And I'm going to let her introduce herself as she starts her presentation today. But please, as you go forward, as we go through this, maintain your mute status. Unless you have a question, you can raise your hand, technically speaking, and we'll call on you, or you can drop your question in the chat box, and I'll be glad to monitor the chat for Cynthia as we go along. Sometimes it's hard for our speakers to do that. This is a recorded version. We'll have it available afterward. It's live on YouTube, and you can go to it immediately after this class and see a recording of it. So how are you doing today, Cynthia?
I am absolutely wonderful, Mark. And how are you?
Good. It's raining a little bit. I always like to warn everybody, if we have any technology challenges with the power going off or something, because it's been doing that a little bit here in Atlanta recently, just come right back on here. It should be okay. But I've made a couple of different people the host, so it should stay there. But if we have any technical issues, just pop back on and we'll get back to there. But everything else is good.
Hop back on, guys. How is everybody today? Can we list the name of our company and what we offer in the chat so that we can get to know each other better? Never know, your next teaming partner might be right next to you, and it's imperative that people know who we are. So let me introduce myself to you all as we begin to talk about something that used to be really scary for me, and that was teaming agreements. The reason I felt like that's imperative that we share this knowledge on teaming, and that we understand that we're not an island to ourselves, and that in order for us to create lasting, sustainable businesses, we need each other. Well, I've been in this business now about 25 years, and I got in and I aggressively came in, and then I slowly backed out because I did not understand that the process was one that was it's time consuming. It's not an overnight success. And so I got in and I was a part of a major contract win with some major giants. It was a 10-year contract with more than, it's about, so maybe $100 million deal. It was with a major agency here in America. And I was a little player. I was a small minority-owned business, woman-owned business, and I was really excited. But I didn't have the trust factor. Not only that, I started out with the trust factor because I felt so fortunate to be chosen to be on this team. Well, because I really didn't know how the government market worked, I made a really bad mistake, guys. And what I did was I backed out. After a while, after a couple of years, because these kinds of contracts, when it's IDIQ, it's indefinite, quality. When it's going on for multiple years, they take time. And this is a major agency. So I didn't have the staying power. People didn't exactly treat me like a real partner, and I didn't know how a real partner should be taught. And so I eventually got out of the market, and I came back, about 7 or 8 years ago. I say that to you all because I didn't know enough about the business to stay in it. But I made a call. I made a call to a gentleman by the name of Mr. David Stewart. And if you know who is probably the largest federal contractor in the market probably ever been, his name is Mr. David Stewart, and he's the owner of Worldwide Technology. I had the gumption, the gall to call him up, and I said to him, Mr. Stewart, this is what's happening to me, and I'm not feeling comfortable. And he says, whatever you do, don't quit. Meet with your partners and try to make it work. And I did a little of that and did a little of this, and it really did not work well for me. So I got out of the business. Well, the same major 10-year contract was eventually divided between two major players. One is Northrop Grumman, and the other was the CDC. So I felt, and I'm sorry, Lockheed Martin, and the agency was the CDC, honestly. And so I felt so like a small partner that I didn't know the value of staying in a big game. And after trying and giving up, I decided to back out. And one of the things that he said to me is, if you're ever going to win, you can't quit in this business because any momentum is better than none. Well, I did opposite. I wasn't obedient. I did it my way, and I lost my shirt because eventually those two companies decided to partner, what we're talking about. They teamed on this agency with the CDC to provide healthcare IT staffing, because I had a small staffing recruitment firm, but I had 3 major certifications that qualified me for this bid. Now, I say this to you all because sometimes we think that business is going to happen overnight, or we don't have sustainable finances, or we don't have the team to help us to become what we need to be. We make mistakes. So I made a mistake and I jumped out of the game. And now there are people who received that past performance. And now they have probably done, at the time, Mr. Stewart was only worth 300 million. Well, today the company's worth billions, and his personal wealth is about $14 billion. So guys, don't quit. And so you have entered into the circle, the ring, like the Olympics is for the best of the best in the industry, the biggest and the best. When you've entered into the government market, you've entered into the biggest ring, because the government is the #1 buyer in the world. They buy everything. So I say to you this, I want you to stay. I want you to play. I want you to learn all you can, catch every training you can, read all you can, but work your business and learn how to team. And that was my story on teaming. Because I left out of the business, I missed out on an opportunity to be chosen again. And I let all my things expire. I had to go back, and now I'm redoing all those things. So let's win. I wanted to talk to you all about teaming because I want to see small businesses become big businesses. And we know that a small business in the federal space is anything between 1 million, 40 million, 1 to 1,500 employees. And most of us would love to win $40 million. And so as you see people that are listing their name in the chat and what they do, the name of their business, I need you to find a partner. I need you to find someone, get to know them. And even if you can't use them, you might have a business associate that could use the services that they render. So this time I'm back in the business, and I had the opportunity to choose the right partner at this time. And the right partner at this time actually chose me. And this was Greg Palmer, Inc. And Greg Palmer, Inc. and I have teamed, and it's been seamless, gentlemen, ladies. It has been seamless. And so what I want to say to you, if you see that slide, it says choosing, and there's a word that's spelled backwards there, right? Teaming partner has to be someone you know, like, and you trust. But if you look at that word that's in parentheses and you look at it, that's right spelled backwards. If you choose the wrong partner, you can actually take your company backwards. Literally, take your your business. You don't want to go backwards. We want to go forward. And so I say this to you all, when you choose the right teaming partner, well, how do you choose this partner? You need to do your due diligence. And if it's a large company, I suggest this to you. Get involved with the SBA. Make sure that you are registered with the Dynamic Small Business Search, the DSBS. Make sure your business is listed in there because large giants are looking for people like you. Choosing the right partner, it would make sure that they are fair, and make sure that they're equitable, and they're really looking for a partner and not a pass-through. Well, what does that mean? Sometimes small businesses will render their services and not get to participate in the growth, the development, the client of that project. That's not partnering. Partnering is a situation, truly, partnering is a situation whereas you, whatever the percentage, whether it's 51-49, 10% of the project, 60-40, it is something that's been delegated through the agreement. It is something that you understand, but you understand how the partner works. Well, how do you understand? You look up their history. I want us to make sure that you are working so diligent with them, in particular, if it's a large company, that there's a possibility of you adopting a mentor protege project with them. What does that mean? That's a government-ran program where this company will begin to partner and mentor you. Mark, would you like to talk about mentor protege relationships and how valuable they really are?
Well, I think, hopefully that goes left unsaid to some extent. I know from my own personal experience, if I hadn't had my mentor and his company, Condrey and Associates, Dr. Condrey, and I would never have been able to have success that I've had in my own contracting. He has worked on hundreds and hundreds of projects nationwide, and bringing me in on a team. And I come in, sometimes I do staffing analysis, which is not as big as some of the projects that you've talked about, but it's good, the bread and butter of business and work. And he does one part of it and he brings me in on a team with him on another part. So it can be small teams and it can be you could be part of a much larger team. Mm-hmm. And you just have to kind of determine what part of the marketplace you're going to serve.
Absolutely. So choosing your partner is crucial. Choosing your partner is, you can't go past the know, like, and trust. You have to develop a rapport with them that change the trajectory of your outcome. And this is what I mean. They look at you as an equal. Though you might be a minority in the deal, you're an equal to them because you have a piece that they don't have. You are just as valuable. What you don't want to do is choose a partner and they make you become a pass-through. The federal government does not play that. And if you partner with a company and you become a pass-through, you can become subjected to never do business with the government again, nor them. So what you want to do is choose a partner that you can trust, one that you believe in, one that believes in you. You've seen their work, you've done your due diligence, and you are welcome into the environment and they respect everything that you offer. And I want you all to take a note on this. Just because they're big, it doesn't mean that they are going to take advantage of you, because that's not the case. But it's also good because just like I'm partnering with this new company, Greg Palmer Inc. and Associates, with my background in staffing and recruiting in the healthcare market, this company needed, he is a veteran-owned small business, and I'm not. And so we had to come to an agreement. The agreement is the contract. The contract is key, guys. Where do you find a team and agreement contract? They're everywhere. the most important thing about the contract is make sure that it is designated and delegated for your participation. You have as much input on this contract as the person who's asking you to team. I felt so honored because Greg Palmer Inc. and Associates, what he actually did was he gave me the autonomy, carte blanche, to work, to create. While he's the veteran, I'm the staffing expert. And so I wrote out the first contract, he sent it back. I read over the contract and we changed one thing here, another thing there. The percentages were established, the dates, the time, everything was arranged on that contract that we are called to do. We are working in tandem. This teaming agreement that we put together, sometimes teaming agreements are just, and it could be a temporary business agreement. My goal is that he and I do just what Mark said, that he and I will take advantage of each other's opportunities and work them as if they are each other's. I've created the marketing piece. We brought in another person. We've sent things out on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. We're working this. I am doing as much work as he's doing because it gives me an opportunity to participate. A teaming agreement is a temporary business partnership between two or more independent companies that come together to pursue and execute a very competitive bid. Listen, these arrangements typically involve one company taking on the role of the lead contractor, and then the other one there's one that's a prime, which is a lead, and then there is the subcontractor. We've been very fortunate that he's given me access to his database, access to his partners. Why? Because we know, like, and trust one another. So before we shook hands, we signed a contract. We understood who was going to do what, why it was going to be done. Anytime I go in and speak to any of his clients, I speak on his behalf because I want him to trust me. I want the relationship. I want that every time he has an open requisition, he calls me. That's a good agreement. I know him, I like him, and I trust him. He's certified as a veteran. I am a woman-owned business, and I have the expertise that he needs. And so friends, I'm telling you, get to know one another. Ask each other questions. You might not have a bid today, but share your capability statements if you have one with each other so that when you see a contract that GovDirections is giving you opportunity through the RFP delivery, hey, we don't have this, but they do. Let's put together an agreement. Mark, you have anything you'd like to add to that about agreements?
I think you're covering the key parts of that. Make sure you, first of all, make sure you can live with it. That's the first thing. And then make sure, you talked about percentages, that is a fair percentage. And I'm going to echo what you said earlier. Even if you're in the agreement, the 10, 15, 20%, that means they still can't get that deal done without your part. It's not a piecemeal situation. Okay. So no, you're just as valuable at 15, 20% as you are at 60, 70%, because the whole deal is the deal.
Right.
And I'll echo also on the capability statement. When you get into the conversation of teaming, you got to be ready to go. Okay. Nobody wants to be working with someone who's scrambling at the last minute. So get your ducks in a row and get everything in order, and you're going to have more success.
Okay? That's right. You'll have more success if you get your ducks in a row, because that's why they hired you or team with you, because you're the expert that they are not. And that's the good thing about it. Your skills are just as valuable as their skills. Now I want to talk about the agreement part too. This is very important. Is it a legal and binding enforceable document by law? Sometimes it is, and sometimes it's not. I have seen judges throw out these agreements and say, work it out. That's your partner. And this is why it's so important that we make provisions on the front end, because you don't have the energy nor the wherewithal to fight other companies, because we're so busy building business and doing business development, capture management, understanding the technical aspect of the project, we don't have time to fight companies legally. It's really important that, and you can't take the task. I couldn't take the task, my partners. They were way bigger than me. They were companies worth at that time billions of dollars. So you know them what they're worth now. I wasn't worth $50,000. So be careful, because sometimes you say, I'm going to go after them. They have money. I'm going to sue them. It doesn't work like that. You don't have time for that. So negotiate on the front end, guys. Understand the art of negotiation. Understand what you cannot do, because oftentimes we're so full of so much zeal, and we're zealous, and we want the opportunity to show ourselves and to shine. We say we can do that, but when it comes time to execute that contract, if you're not ready when you sign that agreement and they've already won the provisions previous to you, if you're not ready to execute, you're in trouble. Why? This gives you past performance. And the one thing a small business can never do without is past performance, in particular, if it's in the federal space and you're going after federal contracts. So I can't promise you that it's a legal binding document, and that if you take them to court because they didn't do what they said, because they didn't pay you as they said, that you're going to win the case. That's why if it's a large company, you need to go through the SBA. You need to make sure you're registered with the, and Mark teaches a class on DSBS. It's really important that you register your business there, so that if a large company is looking for a veteran-owned or woman-owned or EDWOSB or DBE or whomever, whatever certification you've acquired, you have the SBA in your back pocket. And they're less likely to take advantage of someone with the SBA being there as your protector, as your guider. Then you'll have an OSTABU. You'll have a Office of Small Business Development Utilization person that helps fight for you. And then that's when you develop mentor-protege relationships. That's when you develop long-term strategies. Because at some point, some of their certifications, well, most of them, they're so large, they don't qualify for the search. But you will become certified in areas that they will need to win some contracts as well. And the joy of this is you become the prime at some point, and they can become your sub. Don't ever look at yourself as, oh, we're so small, we can never be the prime with a major, billion-dollar company. That's not true, because you can. You really can. So understand, more times than not, teaming agreements they're good faith. They're not necessarily something that you can take to court. Sometimes they're enforced and sometimes it's not. But do you have the wherewithal to spend time suing a company in court, and do you have the language? So that's why we advise you, understand the language used in the agreement, understand what is necessary, understand the technical aspects, understand the accounting principles, make sure that if they have contractors and they need insurance, make sure who's responsible to provide whatever services, that it's legally set up and I want you to take note on that, because I don't want you to go through a teaming situation and then it turns out not so healthy for you. You deserve to win. We deserve to win. And I feel like, I don't just feel like it, I know with my new teaming partner who's providing staffing for healthcare, and we're doing it for veterans, I know for a fact that I'm taken care of. I know what we wrote up. It is something that we have come together as one, and we've created unity. Regardless of who gets the biggest part or the smallest part, we're both playing on a level playing field. On a level playing field. It's very, very important. Now I want to talk about best practices. One of the things that it took us about 4 days to really get established was best practices for this teaming agreement. For an example, let's talk about the functionality of the contract. How often do we meet? Where do we meet? Is it via Zoom? Is it in person? How often do we attend networking events? What's the best email, the best phone number? When are you in the office? You're their partner. You could almost think like are in a relationship. You're partners. So I need to know these things. Honey, what time are we meeting? What time are we going to do this? It's very, very important. These are best practices. It must be established after you sign the contract. Let's talk about client interaction. Does your teaming partner give you the autonomy to reach out to your partners? And the answer should be yes. Why? You're just as part of this contract as anyone else. You cannot be alleviated from this project. Your name needs to be known. You don't know who on that contract, on that other teaming side, or who was part of that contract that might have a desire to reach out to you after this project. So you have to have the relationship. Now, having the relationship does not give you the authority to go in and just throw your name around and pretend as if it's yours alone. It doesn't work like that. Teaming agreements are for ethical and for people who are fair and equitable and want to see a win-win. Because it's not, if you're going to win, if you're in the government market, you will win. It's just a matter of time. And this will help you further that if you get best practices established at first so that you can participate, because you can win. You talk about the benchmarks of the contract. Let's talk about, the benchmarks. What's a benchmark for us on this contract? When are we going to see progress? Those kinds of things for best practices are important. And when shall we expect pay? How is pay received? More than likely, if you're like I am, I'm a sub. We've discussed pay. We've discussed how he'll pay us. We understand those things. That's what's important, guys. That's just what's important. It's important that all these things are established before we get to the last slide, and we're going to talk about execution. My goodness. I think Mark said this best when he said this. He said, make sure that you're ready to go. This week, we went full throttle. We met a week and a half ago. This week, we went full throttle, making calls and reaching out to candidates and setting things up. Are you ready to execute when the contract is time to be opened? Are you conscious of what needs to be done? Are you aware of your role? Have you taken this on, even though it's his contract? Have I accepted it as though it's mine? Because his success is my success. And I want him to win, just like I want to win. And it creates past performance. So there's not a lot to a teaming agreement other than you truly understand the agreement, you participate, you show your expertise, you become the subject matter expert in what you promise you can do. If you are a veteran or a small-owned business or EDWOSB or whatever they needed to win that you had, if you had the IT skills or the transportation skills, if you were the builder and they needed another piece, whatever the piece is that you're offering, you be the subject matter expert. You let them know that without you, there is no contract because they need you. And be ready to execute, friends, because I know we can win. And I'm telling you, because I didn't have trust in the past, I lost millions of dollars. And now I have to change that trajectory of my thought process, which could be stinking thinking that someone's going to take it away from me because I am the expert, so I should realize they need me. And that's what I wanted to share with you all. Find someone that can help you win. Don't be out here. This business development and capture management is not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. I want to thank you all for listening, and now I want you to pose questions because I don't want you to think this is just everything, but this will let you know that teaming works. I want to reiterate that you are who they're looking for. Get registered in the DSBS. Get registered. Get your certifications. Make sure that your capability statement is updated. Make sure that if you added new NACE codes inside of SAMS, that is there. Understand your business and how it works with other businesses. They need you and you need them. Any questions that we need to talk about? I'm going to stop this share so that we can come together face to face and talk about questions and answers so that we can help you be proficient. Mark, what would you like to say? Tell me what we need to add to this to strengthen your customers.
So I want to give them an opportunity to ask questions. They can, of course, in the chat box. I did put in front of you, and you should see the RFP delivery site, because I want to show you some cool features we've sort of added to the system specifically for your teaming relationships that you might have in place. But in your account, when you first log in, you're going to see your dashboard. As a part of that, if you got your capability statement here, know that you can then tap into here, click here, and see that it will prompt you to load it if it's not there. But if it is there, we maintain that online, and you can actually draft up your capability statement by just clicking on that quick link right here. Okay, so you can always, and you can have multiple capability statements available. These are very important so that you have them ready to go depending on the line of work that you're in. I get frequently calls about I'm in multiple lines of work, should I have multiple statements? Yes, you should. Whenever the capability statement needs to speak specifically to what you're doing related to the contract that you're pursuing. You have a more general one as well that you take to trade shows, places like that, whenever you're pursuing that work. But if you're responding to a federal government RFP, it should be in some sort of correlation to that RFP. The second thing, of course, is if you're working with a sort of RFP writing service, or if you need some assistance in organization, you can click on your My Drive, it'll be there. And we have now set up the Google Drive feature so that you have quick access to, your templates and documents. We have that ready to go. You can contact our office if you have any questions about that. But most importantly, we've talked a number of times. You've heard Cynthia talk about your dynamic small business search profile, and you need to always check that out, keep it up to date. We have as a service an offering where you can actually book a time to come in, talk to you, or you can acquire about somebody's services like Dr. Harper, who can kind of do that small business profile with you, making sure you got everything ready. So it's an hour worth investing in. But if you click here with your UEI, and when you go to your UEI, it'll link straight to your SBA profile now. And on your profile, you got to make sure you have some specific items, because this is the way governments find you when they're looking at that. You hear these micro purchases. I hear that all the time. This is how that's done. They find you, they contact you, and then they're able to engage with your service. Also, if I'm looking for someone to team with, then we'll go to your SBA profile. You want to make sure you have your capability statement link done. Okay, these are not complex things to do. There's a video that we can share with you that shows you how to do that, or you just YouTube how to do it. But I know folks will charge hundreds, even thousands of dollars to do this for you. It's not one of the things you really need to pay a lot of money to do. Okay. Here, you also can go in and make sure you got your basic information. If you have a website, then you want to make sure it's in a hyper-secure link as you step down. And you also want to make sure your capability statements is in, as well as your narrative is here, and then your keywords are here. Okay, we do information retrieval and delivery. And while that is important, I always like to show I'm experiential in my process. So here is why. If I'm a contracting officer or a bigger company is looking for somebody to team with, I will come here. Let's just say maybe I'm looking in Georgia and I'm looking for someone who does human resource management, okay, or information retrieval. First of all, so I would come in, I would just type in, get back up here, keyword, information, whatever keyword I'm going to look it for. And I'm going to search, and it's going to present to me those companies that are ready to go. Okay, and you want to be on this list. Okay, if you don't have your capabilities narrative done and your capability statement done, then you're shortchanging yourself. Okay, and I showed this because in this particular situation, I'm not going to come up. Okay, and I use mine as an example process. And the reason why, if we go back to my location here, here's my UEI. Let's go copy that real quick. And a lot of us forget to do this when we sign up. Okay, any state, I'm going to come in very quickly and check me out. If I search me, comes up, you notice I don't have a capabilities narrative. Even though I put down there some keywords, to try to find me. If I don't have my capability narrative complete, then I'm not going to come up whenever government seeks me. So I'm going to miss out on that opportunity. This is the number one way to get a micro consulting, a micro purchase.
Yep.
It's so imperative for you to do this, and also the team. And when I first look at my clients who come to us, I bet 9 out of 10 have not done this simple thing. Okay, make sure you do that. Okay, and if you need some help with that in your account, as always, you can come to your main account. You can click here and say, let's Zoom. Choose, if you're not sure, choose the small business profile item that's on here whenever you search, okay? Or just a general open discussion, okay? Look here and set up a time we can talk to you, and also the capability statement intake. So that's what I wanted to add. Now, with that said, are there any questions today? Any questions?
Ms. Collins, do you have a question? Collins Marino? Uh-oh, you muted yourself.
I'm sorry. No, I don't have any questions. I'm just taking all this information in. I'm new, so I'm looking at how to get started. I have, I'm in sam.gov. I have started the information for SBA, but I don't have a capability statement. I have a very rough draft that I did. I know it's like a resume of the company. So I have like a very rough draft. I know that that's the step that I need to go through now.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And you can certainly, we help Gov Directions clients with capability statements, but it is certainly something you can do yourself as well. If you feel technically inclined, please feel free to do it yourself. If you need us to help you with that, we create them through Gov Directions.
Okay, so I guess what I wanted to ask you, Ms. Harper, is so how do I get, well, I know I'm receiving already, obviously I'm in the Zoom, I'm receiving the emails about RFP.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been getting calls about participating. So I don't have that money yet. I mean, it sounds terrible, but that's how it is. That's the reality right now.
That's
So
the small business mantra.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yeah. So how do I move past that?
So you're saying you don't have money for capability statements and things of that nature? No,
it says the person that called me from the office says about $1,500 to $2,000 for getting into the company, to RFP and receiving those daily notices. So
we do that at Gov Directions. Mark, what is a entry level package that she can purchase to receive daily RFP? I mean,
yeah, you know, I hear you saying a couple different things there.
Yeah.
One thing is if you're looking at, sometimes there's these third-party systems that are there, and they suggest to you that you might have to pay in order to see bids. That's just not the case. Every state now mandates that you have free access to that. It's not that folks can add value, but oftentimes these portals will complicate the issue. They actually add to the fragmentation. But if you SAM, first of all, completely free. All federal listings completely free. So you just go to sam.gov. Yes. And then individual governments, always, a lot of times I'll show this specific slide to kind of illustrate. There's 140,000 different agencies. And for you to pay each of those agencies, that doesn't make any financial sense. So a service like Gov Directions, we in RFP delivery, we aggregate that. We're aggregators, and we pull that together. About 80% of the information is completely free on our site. Okay. And so you go through, and anything that's marked with the federal government access level, you will find is completely free. Local and state governments, most of us will either have home state, one state, or up to 14, a regional package. And that's between $39 and $59 a month. There's no long-term contracts. So you don't have to pay that $1,500, $1,600, $2,000 price point when you first start out. Okay, that's just not feasible for most small businesses. So this gets you in unlimited access for one state for $39 per month, and there's no contracts.
And this would help me to do to get my, was it capability statements? Because I'm an educator, so
Mhm.
I do have, idea of what that is. Just, to make it, I would say, more finished, more acceptable for the level of what I would like to start bidding on,
Mhm.
right? But
Yeah,
again,
and
the guidance is everything. I agree with Ms. Harper.
yeah, and Cynthia has actually has a video online here under Gov Directions YouTube channel, and there's one specifically for capability statements, and you can watch the video where she teaches you how to do it yourself,
Oh,
but she also prepares them for you. If you need some technical assistance, she can help you with that. And so you can reach out to her. You can reach to us. We'll give you the information, or reach out. Cynthia will probably put her information into the platform. So you have first, do it yourself. Second, have somebody help you with it. Third, capability statements are very important with teaming. They're also very important whenever you respond to the federal government. Okay, most local and state governments do not require that. Okay, so there's bits out there that you can pursue without a capability statement. But as I said earlier, getting those ducks in a row is beneficial. If I had to say, how do you do that? What are the most important things to do? First is registration. Make sure you got your UEI. Okay.
yes.
Second is to get that capability statement done. Okay, so that you know what direction you're headed in. Okay.
Okay.
And then third is to find an RFP that you need to respond to. Draw down that RFP. For goodness sakes, don't pay anyone to get that
Yes.
RFP. Okay.
Well, that's good because I can't.
Yeah. So draft it down, read through it, take a look at what you know. Okay. Set that aside. Okay. And then focus on things you don't know. And see in that document what you might have to do. So if there's some insurance requirement or some sort of bond, not everybody has that, but if you do, then get that in order too. But experiential bidding is the best way to do this. Just go out there and bid on something, see what happens. And you will find that you know more than you don't know. Okay. And you will most likely, if you're in business, you'll have a shot at winning. Our clients win bids start up. Somebody asked me that today specifically, how long should it take? They should look to win a bid the first time. I'm like, over and over again, the clients we work with win the first bid they bid on. Okay. So it's not uncommon.
Okay. So
Okay.
Mark, the last question is, in SEM.gov, I signed up, I have my cage code, I have UEI, everything in that sense. So Ms. Harper, I also signed up as a small woman minority business in SAM.gov. Should I be doing that somewhere else? Because I've also signed up for certification with the state of Virginia, where I reside.
Are you in, as we said earlier, are you in DSBS, Dynamic Small Business Search?
No.
Okay, make sure that you list your business there. And you should sign up. And your business is exactly what again?
Educational services.
Vocational services?
Educational.
Educational.
Yeah.
So are you registered
Cynthia,
with this? Yes, sir.
let me just correct one thing, because if you've got an UEI,
Yes.
okay, which you said you did, you're
Yes.
in the small business profile. You are in automatically. It's an overlay of the SAM.
Okay.
What it doesn't have is all the other information that you need to add. Okay. And so you need to go and you go to connect.sba.gov. Okay. You sign in here. You use the same username password that you have with SAM. Okay. And then it'll get your account pulled up, and then you request access to your DSBS. It says request access, and you tell them your UEI, and they give you access to it, and you can modify it. Okay. There's a video SBA puts together. It's in here. If you read through here, it'll tell you how to do that. Okay. Connect.sba.gov. Okay, just to say that. And then you can go ahead with Cynthia with that answer if you like.
No, and I was just, no, that's good. But I'm looking at some of these amazing companies inside who's listed themselves for like Tundra Properties. I certainly hope that you've looked at some of the FEMA bids, because there are some veteran housing contracts that are available right now in the state of Georgia. They're looking for veteran housing for women and for children. I mean, I'm looking at even educational systems in the educational system, one of the things that you should make sure of is that you are registered on the city level, the county level. I mean, you're registered with the city and the state, because educational services, though that the government, the federal government might have some of those projects, I'm telling you, the city and the state, in particular the state, they have a lot of educational processes that they're looking for companies to fulfill.
Okay, okay. So I'm doing that now, the one with Virginia, and that one takes about 60 days. So, but I started that process again to be able to do the procurement for the state and counties. So it was, and I'm glad you called me out, Ms. Harper, because I was feeling discouraged.
Oh, don't be discouraged.
Hearing all this, and when you said get my ducks in a row, I'm like, I'm trying. And then I said to my husband, I said, but we don't have the money. And thank you, Mark, for letting us know that we can get the information that we need. So know that you already impacted a family.
Well, thank you.
Awesome. I'm looking at Dr. Cynthia Burrell. She's clearly saying for your WOSB certification, go here. And let me tell you, my client just received hers, and she received information from them that they're shutting down for a while. So it would behoove you to take advantage of these certifications, begin to do the paperwork, because they're regrouping, they're redoing things. Oh, she says, how can we edit the form that is in the DSBS site? In fact, that was what Mark just spoke of. Mark, what you put up for the lady that was just speaking earlier, can you re-put that in there so that?
Yeah, I can. In fact, I'm gonna actually pull up here just quickly a link, and then I'm gonna drop it in the chat box. But here on YouTube, okay, is a video, okay, and I'm gonna put in the chat box now this link, okay, but also on connect.sba.gov. Okay, this is where you log in, and here's where how do you do things over here. You can click on any of these, but this YouTube video that SBA's done, I think is a really good one. Okay, I also want to give you a little bit of encouragement. I believe in certifications; they are all excellent. You should get those as you can, any that you can get. But I want to encourage you not necessarily to wait. Okay, and I'm going to show you why. Okay? So if you go into RFP Delivery, as an example, and we allow you to search for projects. Right now, there's 48,354 active RFPs. Nothing that's speculative. These are bids that are going to be won by somebody on the date that we tell you. Okay. Now you can go in and filter. Let's just say I'm going to filter here for woman-owned small businesses. Okay. And so these are set asides. Apply that filter. Okay. There are two. 2 out of 48,000 listings. Okay, so while a lot of us spend months and months and months trying to pursue that certification, you have somewhat limited opportunities to pursue. There are so many more opportunities that are available to you that get no one responding. So get the certifications, but don't wait on the certifications. Anything you qualify for, seek out, but don't wait. So somebody asked quickly earlier about the FARs and the contracting officers acknowledging both parties' past performance. Is it true? I think that's a question. Probably you can turn around and say it is true. Okay, so they do look at both.
Yep.
More questions? Let's see.
You know, I'm actually conversing with Mr. Birch, who's doing IT talent on blockchain. And though I'm not a blockchain expert, I've attended several meetings, and hiring and staffing on the blockchain has become very popular. So, you know, don't be afraid of these new things, these new endeavors that are coming out in the blockchain and AI and all, because all this is going to be a part of what we do. So yes, we've got some good winners in here today. I mean, this educational consulting is really big. The Kelly Turner Group, I mean, they're a small bit disadvantaged veteran-owned business. And then they're an 8A graduate. That's an 8A graduate offers a lot to a small company. So, and a big company. So these are the kind of partners you need to just get to know, you know, what have you done? As an 8A, it used to, what is it, a 9-year matriculation? After 9 years, you have to matriculate out of the program. But in those 9 years, you've garnered a lot of experience. Those are good partners for you to look forward to.
Well, here we are coming up on the 5 o'clock hours at the end. I want to just tell you how much we appreciate you coming and sharing your experience with us and your knowledge. And I want to thank everyone for taking their Thursday afternoon to come. I promise next time we thought we'd send out an email yesterday and it didn't get quite sent in time. So I know all of those at the last minute came, and we certainly appreciate that. And we will continue to try to do that in the future. So any final comments, Cynthia?
Hey guys, find good partners and let's win. It's a win-win situation. Let's win.
And I can tell you that Cynthia Harper is a good partner. She and I have been working together for how many years now, Cynthia? Probably 5 or 6 years.
Yes.
And I tell you what, she, as I said, as always, and you know why I say this, she's my favorite speaker. She has a great wealth of knowledge, and I really appreciate her. And I thank you for coming. Have a great day. Everybody, this is going to be live on YouTube as soon as I end this. Thank you.